What if I told you the only thing standing you on life you were born to live is the story you're telling yourself right now? What if I told you that everything you've ever waited, the freedom, the love, the respect is already inside you, but even like it's outside your reach? Beat today. Right now, I'm here to shake your soul awake, because you're not here to play small. You were born for greatness, and not just any greatness. Your own custom-built, God-level, fire-breathing, legacy-making greatness. Let's get one thing straight right now. It whispers in your ear, you're doing okay. Just stay here. Don't rock the boat. But deep down, if you really listen to your gut, your soul was made for more than this. See, we've been sold the idea that comfort equals happiness, that the goal in life is to stay everything neat, tidy, and predictable. But here's the brutal truth. Comfort is a slow death. It's not peace. It's quiet suffocation. It numbs your patine dreams to sleep. Look around you. You probably know people who have dreams, goals, a vision, but they keep putting it off. Needs more at the gym. When I get a job, I'll start the business. Once the kids are older, I'll focus on me. But those months they wake up and realize they've been alive for decades, but they haven't really lived. Why? Because they never got disturbed. Think personal. When was the last time you were truly uncomfortable? Not just stressed, not just tired. I'm talking about just tired. That was Jan Cole. The kind of uncomfortable that makes you look in the mirror and say, I can't keep doing life like this. I'm viewing changes. I'll give you an example. Picture someone working 9-to-5 job. Decent pay, solid benefits. Comfortable, right? But every morning they get out of bed, treating the commute, they sit in traffic, sip lukewarm coffee, stare at their inbox like it's a prison wall. They scroll social media on luck trail build businesses, live boldly, and that ache in their chest gets stronger. That's disturbance. That's your inner greatness trying to what most people saying? Most people say they mix, order, takeout. Swipe on apps, chase dopamine. It's just to avoid the pain will go away, but it doesn't. It just hides until one day it explodes. That's why I'm telling you this. Maybe that you don't change your life when everything starts. You can't stand where you are anymore. There's a story I love. A man walks past story. Sitting there's an old hound dog whining softly. One day he asks the neighbor, hey, that was your old story. Why is your dog always monial? The man asks, why doesn't he move? The neighbor shrugs. I guess it doesn't hurt bad enough yet, kid. How many of us are sitting on our own version of a nail? We know something's wrong. We know not where we're supposed to it. We've adapted to our own misery, and that is the enemy of greatness. If you want to level up your life and radical transform it, you need to get disturbed. You need to look at your comfort zone. It's comfort. It's confinement. It's not safety. It's stagnation. The most successful people in the world can compares. They were just willing to get uncomfortable. They were willing to feel the fear, the risk, and push through it. They fell much dollar into SpaceX and Tesla and lived in debt. Oprah was fired early in her career and told she wasn't fit for television. A J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter as a brink of homelessness. Do you think they were comfortable? No. But they were disturbed enough to rise. So here's the challenge for you. What parts of your life you accepted as normal, even though they're draining you? Excuses have you wrapped in logic? What dream have you buried beneath? Maybe someday. I want you to get real with yourself. I want you to get uncomfortable with the threat you do. Because until you do, nothing changes. Get disturbed with your health if you're Bobo, like the gift it is. Get disturbed with your finances if you know you were meant for more than scraping by. Maybe the disturbed in your relationships who keep you small. Let that fire build. Let it get hot enough to move you. Because here's the most powerful truth. Your greatness doesn't live in the zone where everything feels easy. It lives on the other side of discomfort, the other side of fear, the other true currency of your next level. The more you're willing to lean into it, the faster your life transforms. Don't avoid it. Use it, and that word won't just see a better version of you. They'll see the real you, the powerful, unstoppable, authentic you that was there all along to get disturbed enough to break free. Now, ask yourself, are you ready to move? Let's clear something up. Right now, your past is not your identity. It is not a life sentence. It is not a chain you have to drag around for the rest of your life. Whatever happened to you? The mistakes, the regrets, the failures, the heartbreaks, the missed chances, none of that has the power to determine who you can become. Unless you give it that power, you are not your trauma. You are not your worst decision. You are not the opinion someone else formed about you in a moment of pain. You are not the person you were 5 years ago or even 5 minutes ago. You are the decisions you make next. Right now, today, let's be real. Every one of us has a past. Some of it's beautiful, some of it's broken. Maybe you made decisions out of fear. Maybe you trusted the wrong people. Maybe you played small for too long, stayed silent when you should have spoken, hid your truth because you didn't believe it was enough. But here's the thing. Every single person walking this planet is a walking redemption story in progress. Separates the ones who rise from the ones who stay stuck isn't the story they came from. It's the decisions they make moving forward. Let me paint a picture you might recognize. Imagine someone who spent years in a job they hate. They once had dreams of being a writer, a coach, but life got in the way. Bills, responsibilities, expectations. Somewhere along the road, they stopped chasing the dream. The dream didn't die, it just went quiet. Every once in a while, that dream whispers again in the middle of a commute late at night while watching someone else live their purpose. And instead of stepping toward it, they retreat. Why? Because the voice in their head says, "It's too late. You missed your shot. You failed before. What makes you think you won't fail again?" That voice is lying. The only reason it has power is because they're still making decisions based on a past version of themselves. A version that was wounded. A version that was uncertain. A version that didn't yet know what they're capable of. But let me tell you something, you are not that version anymore. You have learned, you have grown, you've survived 100% of your worst days. That alone makes you dangerous. That alone makes you qualified to choose again. Your power is not in your history, it's in your agency. It's in your ability to choose a new direction at any moment. Think about the people you admire, people who overcame the odds, people who turned pain into power. Do you think they had perfect pasts? Hell no. Many of them came from broken homes, faced bankruptcy, battled addiction, suffered abuse, felt rejected or abandoned. They made one decision that changed everything. They decided not to let their past dictate their future. Oprah was born into poverty and experienced abuse as a child. She could have used that as a reason to stay small. But she decided, I will not be defined by what happened to me. I will be defined by what I choose to do next. That decision, not her past, is what made her Oprah. And this is not just about the big names. This is about you, me, all of us. Every day you wake up, you are given a divine gift. The freedom to choose. You can choose to stay in the story that's kept you stuck. Or you can choose to write a new chapter. Yes, the past may have taught you some lessons. It's not your address, it's a classroom, not a cage. So stop replaying that moment when you failed. Stop identifying with that version of you who didn't know better. That person didn't have today's wisdom. They didn't have today's strength. They didn't have today's perspective. But you do. Your destiny isn't determined by your history. It's shaped by your courage to decide differently consistently. Every transformation begins with a decision, a line in the sand, a moment where you say, no more. That chapter is closed. I'm not going back. I'm building forward. And that doesn't mean it'll be easy. There will be moments when the past tries to whisper again. Every time you choose growth, you're laying a new foundation. Every time you take action in spite of fear, you're building a new identity. Every time you say, I am not who I was, I am who I choose to become, you are stepping into your greatness. So if you've been holding on to a story that says, I'm not ready, broken, I already failed, let this be the moment you let that go. Right here, right now. Burn that script. Replace it with a new declaration. I decide what defines me. I decide what's next. I am the author now. The past, that's just the prologue. Your greatness starts with the next decision you make. Choose boldly. Choose now. Let's talk about something that has the Pope retire life, not over the next decade, not next year, starting today. It's luck. It's not talent. It's not even motivation. It's your standard. It's your standards. You me on this. You don't get what you want. You get what you're willing to tolerate. You get what you demand from your source. Most people never reach their full potential, not because they lack ability, because they've set the bar way as happiness, love, health, but then they accept mediocre effort, toxic relationships, low energy, and excuses. They want extraordinary, but they're line league standards. Let's get real with a daily example. Imagine someone who says, I want to be healthy.
I want to get in
That's a great in shape. Alarm goes off at 6 a.m. for the gym. They hit snooze. They tell themselves, I'll start next week. Lunch break comes, prepping a meal that nourishes their body. They go for fast food because it's convenient. Evening rolls around, they sit on the couch media, watching others the life they dream about, and deep down they're frustrated. They're wondering, why am I not changing? Why, the answer is they haven't raised their standards. Their standard is to do what's easy when things get hard. Their standard is to choose comfort, is based on their past, not their potential. Now imagine someone else, same schedule, same job, same struggles, but they've made a decision. They said, "Don't, I'm tired. I move my body every morning because that's who I am now." They pack meals inconvenient. They listen to growth podcasts while others scroll TikTok. They're not better. They've just decided to operate from a higher standard. That's what creates lasting change. Your standard is the invisible ceiling that determines how high you can rise. Your standard is to just get by. You'll never feels like to thrive. If your standard is, "I always struggle with money," guess what? You'll find a way to live paycheck till you start making more. Maybe if your standard is, "I'm always the Mallwood ships," you'll continue attracting people who take and never give. You train the world how to treat you based on train yourself the same way. Every time you show up half-hearted, every time you accept less than what you know worth, you reinforce the idea that this is okay. But what happens when you raise the standard? When you say, "From now on, I do not tolerate this version of me and rate laziness. I don't tolerate toxic energy. I don't tolerate playing small. I don't tolerate living below my purpose." Look at anyone you admire, a world-class athlete, a high-performing entrepreneur, a powerful leader. You'll notice something very clearly. Theirs are now negotiable. They don't hope to be disciplined. They expect it. They don't hope to deliver excellence. They require it, not because they're superhuman, but themselves to never settle for less than what greatness demands. And don't think this is just about money, about how you show up in every area of life. It's about deciding, I don't argue with people who drain my energy. I protect my peace. It's saying, I don't coast through life. I squeeze through time. It's about looking yourself in the eye and saying, from this day forward, this is the level I operate at. There's power in drawing a line and saying, I don't do average. I don't do excuse. I show up. I deliver. I grow. This isn't about being perfect. You will fall. You will fail. But when your standards are high, even they'll still be better than most people's best days. Because you've trained yourself to expect more. Maybe here's the beautiful part. When you raise your standards, you don't just change your life. You change your identity. You start seeing yourself differently. Maybe you speak differently. You walk different. I do this. You say, this is who I am now. So let me ask you right now, what are you tolerate that you know is beneath you? What habits, relationships, beliefs, and behaviors have become normal or setly unacceptable to the version of you who's living their dream? Because once you get clear on that, you have a choice. You can keep living by DeForoy's, the standard, and live by design. Every transformation starts with a decision. I will no longer live like this. From now on, I live like this. Don't wait until the pain becomes unbearable. Don't wait for life to force you to lever now. And watch your entire world rise to meet you. Let's talk about one of the most powerful tools you have. And the truth is, you already carry it with you everywhere you go. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to wait for it. It's already yours. It's your state. The emotional, mental, and physical condition you put yourself in at any given moment. And here's the truth most people never realize: your state determines your decisions, and your decisions shape your destiny. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how the same situation feels completely different depending on your mood? You can wake up in a good state, energized, confident, optimistic, and suddenly traffic doesn't bother you, the annoying email doesn't shake you, and you attack your goals like a lion. But wake up in a low state, tired, frustrated, and even the smallest inconvenience feels like a mountain. You overthink everything, you hesitate, you lose momentum. That's not about your circumstances, that's your state. Your state is your power center. When you're in a powerful state, you operate from confidence, clarity, creativity. When you're in a weak state, you operate from fear, doubt, and hesitation. Here's what most people do. They wait for the outside world to shift before they change their state. They say, when I get the promotion, when my relationship improves, then I'll feel more confident. When I have more money, then I'll be motivated. But greatness doesn't work that way. Winners flip the formula. They don't wait to feel good. They generate the feeling first, then energy creates the results. Tony Robbins says it all the time, or motion is created by motion. You can literally hack your brain by changing your body. Want to feel confident? Stand like it, breathe like it, move like it. Want to feel happy? Put a smile on your face, even if it feels silly. Your brain doesn't know the difference. Let me give you a simple daily example. Imagine waking up for work. You didn't sleep well, you've got emails waiting, bills on your mind, maybe a problem you haven't solved yet. Most people roll out of bed slowly, drag their feet, scroll their phone, and complain about being tired. That's the state they choose. Sluggish, negative, overwhelmed. And then they wonder why the rest of the day goes downhill. Now picture a different version. You wake up, your first thought is gratitude. I'm alive. I have breath in my lungs. You jump out of bed, drink water, put on music that energizes you, move your body, even for just 5 minutes. You speak out loud affirmations like, today I lead, today I conquer, today I rise. Guess what? You just shifted your state, and because your state changed, your focus shifts, your energy is higher, your creativity is activated. You're ready to face the day with strength, and it's not magic, it's conditioning. Champions condition powerful states daily. They don't let life dictate their energy, they take charge of it. Here's something powerful: your state in any moment determines what part of your brain you operate from. In a low emotional state, fear, anger, worry, your survival brain takes over. You focus on problems, you see threats, you avoid risk, you play defense. In a peak state, confidence, gratitude, joy, certainty, your higher brain turns on. You think creatively, you take bold action, you lead with purpose. That's why the most successful people in the world obsess over mastering their state. They jump in cold plunges, they meditate, they listen to music that moves their soul, they dance, they shout affirmations, they go for intense workouts. Why? Because they know something average people don't. Your energy is more important than your plan. Because the best strategy in the world won't work if you're in a lousy state. But even an average plan can lead to massive results when you attack it with unstoppable energy. Let's take one more real life situation, a job interview. Two candidates have the same resume, same qualifications. One walks in nervous, shoulders slumped, voice shaky, eyes darting. The other walks in tall, with energy, a firm handshake, and speaks with conviction. Who gets the job? The one who owns the room with their state. Or think about relationships, the way you show up. Your emotional state affects how you connect, how you listen, how you love. Show up bitter and defensive, you'll push people away. Show up open-hearted and joyful, and people feel drawn to you. They feel safe around your energy. It's all state. Every breakthrough starts with energy. Every transformation begins with a decision to take control of your internal world, no matter what the outside world is doing. So the question is, what state are you living in? Are you stuck in stress, fear, and frustration? Or are you training yourself to live in power, certainty, and gratitude? Because here's the truth: you are one decision, one breath, one movement away from a totally different life. You don't need to change everything. You just need to change your state. You want to change your business? Change your state. You want to transform your health? Change your state. You want to lead your family, your team, your future to greatness? It starts with mastering the energy you walk into the room with. So don't wait. Don't let life dictate your energy. You dictate it. Wake up every day and say, I don't wait to feel amazing. I create amazing. Because when you change your state, you change your life. There's a voice in your head that has more power than any outside force in your life. It's not your boss. It's not your parents. It's not society. It's you, your own internal dialogue. And depending on how you train it, that voice can either become your greatest enemy or your most powerful ally. Let's be honest. Most of us are walking around with a voice in our heads that's not just negative, it's downright abusive. That voice that says, you're not ready. You always mess things up. Why even try? It shows up right before you speak in public. Right when you're about to take a leap. Right when you're about to step into a higher level. And the crazy part is, it's not even true. That voice, the inner critic, isn't speaking from truth. It's speaking from fear, from old wounds, from past conditioning. It's that part of your brain that's trying to protect you by keeping you small. But here's the truth: you were not built to live small. Imagine this. There's a little child trying to learn how to walk. They fall, they wobble, they trip. Would you look at that child and say, whoa, you're terrible at this, you should give up? Clearly not cut out for walking. Of course not. You'd encourage them, smile at them, pick them up, and say, you've got this, try again. But that same grace, that same love, that same encouragement, we rarely give it to ourselves. We talk to ourselves in ways we would never talk to someone we love. And then we wonder why our confidence is low, why we're stuck, why we hesitate every time we try to grow. It's because we've allowed the inner critic to dominate the conversation in our minds. Let me paint a real life picture. Think about someone who wants to start a business. They're excited. They have an idea. They start researching. Maybe they even get a domain name, maybe even design a logo. But then the voice shows up. Who do you think you are? There are already people doing this? You're not smart enough. What if you fail and everyone laughs at you? And that voice doesn't just whisper, it shouts. It paralyzes. It convinces them that dreaming was a mistake. So what do? They stop. They delete the files. They go back to their routine. And the worst part, a part of them dies a little inside. But let me tell you something powerful. That voice is not your truth. That voice is a pattern, and you can break it. Inside of you, there's another voice, the inner coach. It's quieter at first. You've probably ignored it for years, but it's there. That voice says, you've come so far. You have something unique to offer. Even if you fall, you'll rise stronger. You are more capable than you realize. And the goal, kill the inner critic, not with violence, but with awareness, and amplify the inner coach until it becomes your default setting. Start paying attention to your inner dialogue. Would you say what you're thinking about yourself to your best friend, your child, your partner? If the answer is no, you don't deserve to say it to yourself either. This isn't about blind positivity. It's about empowered truth. It's about speaking to yourself with the same fire, belief, and love that a world-class coach would. Because no matter how many strategies you follow or books you read, if your internal voice keeps sabotaging you, you'll never sustain success. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine you're preparing for an interview or maybe a speech or even a difficult conversation. The critic will say, you're going to mess this up. You're not qualified. They're going to judge you. But the coach shows up and says, you've prepared, you've grown, you've done hard things before and crushed them. Let's go. And here's what's amazing. When you change the conversation inside your mind, you change your energy. When your energy shifts, the world around you responds differently. Confidence isn't just something you're born with. It's something you cultivate moment by moment. Start feeding your inner coach every single day. Talk to yourself like you would a champion in training. Use affirmations. Use movement. Use visualization. Don't just hope you feel confident. Train it like a muscle. Instead of, I can't say, I'm learning. Instead of, I always mess up, say, every failure teaches me something. Instead of, I'm not ready, say, I'm ready enough to start, and I'll grow along the way. It's not about being perfect. It's about being powerful in the face of imperfection. The truth is, your inner critic will never fully disappear, but it doesn't have to run the show. You get to choose which voice holds the microphone. And when the critic speaks up, you outgrow it. You outshine it. You replace it with truth, with action, with love. So ask yourself right now, who's speaking inside your mind, the critic or the coach? And more importantly, who are you giving the final word to? Because the world is not waiting for a perfect version of you. It's waiting for the real empowered version of you. The one who shows up not because they're fearless, because they choose to believe in themselves louder than any fear. Kill the inner critic, amplify the inner coach, and watch how fast your life transforms. Who you spend time with is who you become. Your energy, your beliefs, your my habits, your standards. They are infectious, and they are influenced every single day, molded and directed by the people in your immediate circle. And that's why this truth is non-negotiable. Proximity is power. You cannot think big. You cannot spend your time with people who constantly complain and expect to feel grateful. You cannot build wild empire with excuses. The reality is, human beings are tribal. We adapt to the culture around us, whether consciously or unconsciously. You sit to people who gossip and play small. Eventually, you'll start doing it too. Not because you're weak, because you're wired to belong. Surround yourself with drive, grateful, disciplined individuals who are chasing greatness. Your standards have to rise. That energy pulls you forward. Think of it like this. You're sitting in a cold room, but the people around on fire with purpose. You will catch that heat. You can't help it. Their energy elevates your grit. Let me give you a real life example. Picture someone who's trying to level up their height. They've just made the decision to start a business, get fit, or work on their mindset. At first, they're excited, inspired. They've got momentum, but then they bought their old environment. They bring up their vision at dinner and hear things like, don't get your hopes up. And suddenly their fires to flicker. It's not that they lost the dream. It's that they're in the wrong room. A room where dream is seen as dangerous. A room where ambition is labeled arrogance. A room where growth makes people uncomfortable, reminds them of what they haven't down. So what do? They shrink to fit in. They quiet their goals. They go back to normal, but deep down capable of more. And that inner battle becomes exhausting. Now flip the script. Imagine that same person walks in around not whining, where people speak in visions, not limitations. Where? How can we? Replaces what their goals feel possible. They see proof in front of them. They hear better questions. They get honest feedback. Their push is everything. It will either stretch you or suffocate you. That's why proximity is not just important. Think about world-class athletes. They train with coaches and competitors who challenge them. Maybe don't surround themselves with people enough. They seek out the people who say, "You've got more in you." The same applies to life. If you're the smartest, strongest, and most person in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. You need to be around people who intimidate you a little. People who've done what you want to do. People know what you make excuses. Now, let's be clear. This doesn't mean you abandon everyone who's not on your path. But you must be intentional about where it means protecting your energy like your life depends on it. Because it does. There's a saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Want to know where life's headed? Look at your 5 closest relationships. Are they pulling you up or dragging you down? Are they challenging you or coddling you? Growth or reinforcing your limitations? You become like the people you spend the most time with. Not just in what you do, but in how you think. So if you want your environment, get around the people who think big, who take action, get up early, who work harder, who speak life. And here's the key. You do personally to start. Podcasts, books, videos, online communities. You can tap into the energy of greatness where immerse yourself in that world, even from a distance. You start to reprogram your identity. You start to say, if they can, why not me? That's when you end up in deciding, from hesitating to hustling, from surviving to soaring. So here's the challenging audit your environment. Who gets your time, energy? Who gets your beliefs? And more importantly, do they reflect where you're going or where you've been? Because stepping into your greatness is about who you do it around. Proximity is power. Proximity is permission. Proximity is possibility. So find the rooms that challenge you, encourage you, stretch you. Surround yourself with energy that lifts, not limits. Because when your circle levels up, so does your life. Here's one of the most misunderstood truths. You don't need perfect plans, flawless execution, or total certainty. You just need to move. Maybe that you need to start. You need to take them off starring. Too many people are sitting on the sidelines of their lives, waiting for the stars to align, waiting for the time to be right. Wait a minute, more clarity, more credentials. And while they're waiting, someone else with less knowledge, less talent, less experience, is ailing, learning, adjusting, and winning. It's not the most prepared who win. It's the most committed. It's not the perfectionists who succeed. It's you get messy and keep moving anyway. Let me paint a real-world picture. Imagine someone who's always dreams dream brand. They sketch ideas in a notebook. They obsess over the logo. They spend weeks trying to perfect the perfect worth. Months go by and nothing gets launched. Why? Because they're paralyzed by perfection. They're waiting till everything looks. And while they're polishing pixels, someone else is selling tees, shirts out of their car trunk, learning what works. Connecting with customers and building moments that reward what you intend to do. It rewards what you actually do. Think about the most successful entrepreneurs. Artists, leaders, none of them started. Slate Jobs didn't launch Apple with a perfect prototype. Oprah didn't have decades of projects sorted. Even Tony Robbins, he wasn't the polished house we see today when he gave his first seminar. But maybe that he did have unshakable drive, imperfect action. Because action is what creates clarity. Not planning. Doing. Here's what's wild. Most of you are on the other side of action. That's where the magic lies. Not their theory. In the experience, you start. You mess up. You learn, you adjust, but loop. And the faster you get into motion, the faster life starts giving you the data you need to improve. Let me give you another daily life. Get in shape. You start researching diets. You scroll for hours watching fitness influencers. You buy a fancy water bottle. Get the right shoes. Sign up for a gym. You use a tape. I don't know the right routine. I don't know if people stare at me. And here's the true thing, none of that matters. What matters is you show up. Even if you do one push-up and leave, even the machines, even if you sweat and look ridiculous, because every rep, every awkward workout, every moment of discomfort, it all compounds. You don't get strong by waiting to feel strong. You get strong by lifting again and again. Taking massive, imperfect action doesn't mean you act boldly. It means you stop waiting for perfection and start embracing progress. You move with urgency, knowing that time is the one resource you never back. Guess what? Guess you will fail, you will stumble, you will make wrong turns. But failure isn't the opposite of success, part of it. Every mistake is a breadcrumb that leads you closer to mastery. Let's be real. The people who seem to have it all figured out, they don't. They just failed faster. They started when they were scared. They launched before they were ready. They understood the real enemy isn't fairy. Perfectionism is just fear in disguise. It's the ego trying to protect you from judgment, rejection, and discomfort. But you know what protects you more? Well, motion, fear loses its grip. When you're in motion, you stop overthinking and start experiencing. Maybe that was your old story. When you're in motion, you grow faster than the curry. So ask yourself, where in your life are you stuck in preparation mode? Where are you letting fear of imperfection of next bold step? Is it starting that business, launching that podcast, asking for that raise, writing that book, recording that video? Whatever it is, do mass, do it afraid. You can always refine later. But you can't refine something that doesn't exist. Start with version 1.0, broken, raw, unfianced, sculpt you. You don't need all the answers to begin. You just need to begin. Because when you take massive, imperfect action, you stop being a prisoner of potential. You step out of your head and into the real world. You become dangerous, not because you're flawless, because you're relentless. So from hit it to yourself, I will no longer be held hostage by perfection. I will act boldly, speak bravely, move quickly. I will embrace failure because it's stopped, because momentum is mine. Take massive, imperfect action and watch your life explode into motion. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good, eye to the slap on a coffee mug. It's not just about saying, maybe a price of blessings once a year in November. Gratitude, true, relentless gratitude, is one of the we're living in. And it's not passive. It's not soft, fierce. It's fuel. It's what transforms pain into power, problems into possibilities. And you want to step into the greatness you deserve, then you must learn to live with a mindset that says, no matter what's happened around me, I'll be grateful for, and I will find strength in it. Because here's the reality: life will hit you. You will face delays, detours, disappointments. People go your way. The path will twist, and sometimes it will feel like you're walking through the dark. Gratitude, when you choose it, light. Let me take you into a real world example. Picture someone going through a tough financial season. Bills are stacked, stress is high, and the easy response is panic, frustration, fear. The inner dialogue starts spiraling. Why me? I can't catch a break. But let's say that person, instead of drowning in that fear, stops and chooses a different lens. They look around and say, I may not have everything right now, but I have the strength to keep going. I have food today. I have breath in my lungs. I have lessons I'm learning 100, and suddenly the energy shifts. Gratitude doesn't raise the problem, but it reframes it. Instead of becoming a victim, they start as a fighter. And that shift in state, it changes how they show up. They start making bolder decisions. They start looking for solutions into problems. They start moving again. Gratitude is not a retreat from action. Meaningful action possible. When you're ungrateful, you get stuck. When you're grateful, you get resourceful. And the best part, gratitude isn't depend surfaces. It's not about having the perfect day. It's about having the right perspective. You can be grateful when you're winning, and you're grateful when you're wounded. In fact, some of the most life-changing gratitude experience will come during your toughest moments. Think about someone recovering from illness or injury. At first, it's all frustration. The pain, but then there's a shift. They notice the way the sunlight hits the wall in the morning. Maybe they feel the love in some, or they so appreciate the body they once took for granted, and suddenly every breath becomes a gift. That's not weakness. That's power. Relentless gratitude means to be perfect, to start appreciating it. You train yourself to find the blessing in the chaos, the lesson in the loss, the miracle in the mundane. it mean I don't have to go to work. I don't have to parent my kids. I get to raise world changers. I don't have to deal with this challenge. Yet every moment becomes an opportunity to anchor yourself in what's real, what's right, and what's still possible. Let's take another. You're stuck in traffic. You're late. Frustration starts to bubble. But what if, instead of letting that moment ruin your mindset, you flip it? What if you say, this is a chance to breathe, to listen to something uplifting, maybe to remind myself I'm still in control of the sure, not just a passenger in your life. You're a conscious creator of your state. Gratitude doesn't ignore reality. The reality, this is hard, but I am harder. Yes, this is uncertain, but I have faith. Yes, I'm still becoming. But look how far I've come. And here's your fire full. When you live with relentless gratitude, people feel it. Your energy changes the room. Presence uplifts others. You become your prentities, more connections, more growth, because people are drawn to that frequency. You don't have to be the loudest. You don't have to be the most experienced. But who shows up thankful, grounded, and full of life, you'll always stand out. So how do you build relentless gratitude? Just when things go right, but especially when they go wrong. Start your mornings with it, and your nights with it. Speak it out loud. Write it down. Feel the non-negotiable part of your mindset. Because when you live in gratitude, you unlock your ability to rise above anything. You become a force of nature. Unspoiled. You don't wait for life to give you more to feel grateful. You become grateful and life gives you more. So today, wherever you are, whatever you're facing, say, I don't just count my blessings. I live them. I breathe them, because I know gratitude isn't just a decision to rise.